Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So, we're going to be looking at Marvel Team Up number 100 featuring Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. Now, I am showing this video as part of the X-Men, and you will see why. Now, this issue, great cover by Frank Miller, who, by the way, also pencils the inside, is the introduction of Karma, who will be showing up in the New Mutants, and we are covering what I call the Claremont verse. Those are the issues of Uncanny X-Men, New Mutants, Wolverine, Excalibur, but also X Factor, although he did write the last four issues of the X Factor, but we're going to follow them because a lot of that stuff will tie in. That is most done by Louise Simonson, who takes over, I believe, after issue 8, and Walt Simonson ends up drawing after issue 10. So we're going to cover those issues. So this is actually going to be part of the X-Men playlist. I do have a playlist, so feel free to check that out. I believe this is the will be the 50th video on that playlist. So rocking along every day with the X-Men. So all right, here we go. As I mentioned before, Frank Miller. Say what you will. I like him. I really, really do. Introducing Karma. She possesses people. Case in point, and we see Spider-Man. I love how this is colored here to make the blue does tend to blend, but it's a different shade of blue. They probably could have used some other color, an orange or a yellow perhaps, to make it pop more. A different yellow than this, perhaps a brighter yellow. But Spider-Man cries out, "My mind! It is a day much like any other day for our wall-crawling web-slinger. He's on his way home, his thoughts turning to this evening's academic workload when quite without warning." And so he yells, "My mind." Now, Bob Wysack is the inker for this. So it wasn't Klaus Janson, even though Klaus Janson was in the cover. This is shortly before Frank Miller takes over as penciler and eventually writer of a Daredevil here. And it says here that Ithacon 79 was an inspiration. So Claremont must have gotten this somewhere in there. So, cool panel. Very Steve Ditko-ish. And I think that's what Spider-Man or Frank Miller was going to. Now, real quick, we see some vertical panels, which Frank Miller does better than anyone else. Probably even Todd McFarlane, who is king of the vertical panels here. So you can see Spider-Man falling here. Imagine being dunked in sulfuric acid. That should give you a vague idea of how Spider-Man feels. And here, Karma watching all in silhouette, which Frank Miller is going to do more and more when he does his own work, but he does silhouette better than anyone else. Instinctively, he resists, fighting for his mind, his life, his soul, without knowing who has attacked him so viciously or why. So, Spider-Man, of course, thinks here and he realizes he's falling here. I love how, again, these vertical panels so good. How high am I? How much time? Only seconds before I hit the ground. What do I do? And so, whoever you are, get out of my head, he says. And you can see here he hits the water tower and then bounces through, just hitting and hitting and hitting. Um, the body responds automatically. Hair trigger reflexes, averting disaster by the narrowest of margins. And so, while nearby, and again, here's Karma um, using her power. I love how Miller comes up with these things just even early on. And Karma goes, "Why does he resist? I never intended to cause him such pain. Perhaps I should release him before it's too late." And then she kind of ponders a little bit. That's why they goes, "No, too much is at stake. I must have his mind." And so, and I will have it. Building cornice. I caught it. So, man, beautiful, beautiful illustrations here. So, again, more vertical panels. Look at this. Oh, my. Oh no, as it kind of breaks through. Hand spasms forward reflexively to no avail. And so, you can see here, again, to no avail. Just Spider-Man, just going through. I can't stop myself, he thinks. Um, oh, sorry, first is, what do I do now? And he just, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And Karma's like, "Stay calm. Above all, stay calm." Wonderful, wonderful panels here. "I've done this before. Spider-Man is no different from the others I've possessed. Simply more difficult to control. All I need to do is feel his thoughts, let them flow through me as they do through him." And so, but will I be in time? And you'll see the onlookers. I love this one in particular. Look at how much information. Oh, this vertical panel is just friggin' perfect. Oh, and so the onlookers are seeing Spider-Man. Get out of the way! Run! Someone call the cops! Call an ambulance! So, I wonder if Frank Miller could do 22 pages of just vertical panels. I bet you he could. And so he thinks, and he goes, "I've stopped falling. My fingers are sticking to the wall, supporting my full weight. This is fantastic. I pulled myself up without strain or effort. I have never seen such strength or incredible agility. At last, I begin to believe I made the proper choice in Spider-Man. He has other abilities. The newspaper I read referred to some sort of webbing, but does he generate it within his own body like a real spider? Is that oh, sorry. That is inhuman. Wait. There are devices around each wrist and the buttons in his palms. I press them. Aha! This is fun." So Karma has, of course, possessed Spider-Man. So Steve Ditko-ish. It is. If you saw the date, even though this is from 1980, this was drawn in 1979. So we're quite a ways removed from that time, 10 years. And, we've had John Romita and other people, and Frank Miller says, we're going to Ditko this motherfucker. So it is beautiful. And so Karmas goes, "I see an ejection mechanism, fires the webbing like a catapult firing an aircraft. It has considerable range. And the web stuck to that chimney. I'll give it a hard tug to see how strong it is." Oh, she thinks. So again, I'm saying Karma because it's Karma inside possessing Spider-Man. So does she just stay up in that building that whole time? So, the webbing didn't break, but that one pull, how strong is he? Am I? And so it crumbles that chimney. By my ancestors. strength, speed, agility, fantastic powers, and weapons. I could not wish for more, but I must be careful. His will is as strong as his body. Even though I am in complete control, Spider Man is still fighting him. I cannot fault him for that. In his place, I would do no less. I have never possessed anyone like him. Already, I can feel myself changing, taking on some of his mannerisms. Great in there through the color holds. Man, oh man. So, I actually I will say on had this issue. Through all time, I ended up losing it. I do have a Frank Miller trade paperback that was released eons ago, that contains this story. It was also reprinted in a Marvel's Tales, which I do have, but I do not have the original anymore, unfortunately. Part of what happens when you grow up during this era and you pick up stuff, you're still a kid and you treat things. Um, so it was trashed anyway. So, c'est la vie. So, the longer I stay with him, the more like him I will become, and I have no idea at what point, if at all, the process might become irreversible. But despite the danger to my life, to my immortal soul, I cannot give up. Tonight, with Spider Man's aid, either I win or die. So, elsewhere. This is Freedom Tower in the heart of New York's financial district. A halfway century ago, the building was home to some of the most prestigious brokerage houses and law firms in the world, if not the country. Now, after its conversion to luxury apartments co-op, it houses the rich and super rich. So that's where we are. So apparently, someone here is having a party. It says here, Gwen Gok Khoi, a former general in the South Vietnamese army. He calls himself a simple businessman these days, one fortunate enough to be a self-made multimillionaire. So tonight he is hosting one of the swankiest charity parties of the season with a guest list that would make Studio 54 pale by comparison. So Studio 54 was still around during this time. So here he is introducing to the Mr. Fantastic. I almost said Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic. And the Invisible Woman. Here's the thing. I've heard so much of the renowned Fantastic Four. It is an honor and a pleasure to meet you at last. And Reed says, "Thank you, General. It was generous of you to purchase so many of Alicia Masters' sculptures." And he says, "It was for charity. Consider it my way of thanking America for being so good to me. Allow me to present my nephew Tran, and this is his brother and sister. These two children recently escaped from Vietnam." And the Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, says, or Sue Richards, "Oh, you poor darlings, it must have been a terrible ordeal. My name is Sue. Do you know I have a son about your age?" And the general says, "Regrettably, Mrs. Richards, they speak no English. And it is also long past their bedtime." And he snaps his finger. "Lawson, Darude, see to the children." And so here we got the thing here with Alicia. From the bulges under the jackets, it looks like every flunky here is carrying a gun. The general is expecting World War III or something, he says. And Alicia Master says, "Ben, it's ungracious of me after all our host has done for our charity, but I don't like him." And the thing says, "That makes two of us, hun. Don't worry, though. We'll leave soon." And so here we have the possessed Spider-Man. And so these two are like, "Where's our sister? And this guy here says, "Shut up, kid." And so he says, "Leon, Ga, I found them." I believe the N is silent, so I don't think it's Nga. Like, I don't believe that. I do not believe that it's Nga, but um, now to free them, and so Karma possessing Spider-Man does as he does, and he shoots that gun, and so he goes, "That gun is sure to bring more guards. I must act quickly." And then in Vietnamese, "Children, I have been sent by your sister." And then he goes, "Ah, this strange buzzing in my head. What does it mean?" Of course, it's the spider sense. And then you can see here, Reed Richards is coming through. Um, Someone behind me. The eerie sensation must have been some kind of warning. Oh, my feet stick to things as well as my hands. I never realized. But my assailant, he he has arms like rubber. Who, of course, he must be Mr. Fantastic, leader of the Fantastic Four. Kidnapping seems a bit out of your line, Wall Crawler, but it'll be the FF's pleasure to make sure your new career is stopped before it's really started. It kind of wonders to me. They've had different adventures together. Why would they write? Why would Claremont kind of write uh, the Fantastic Four kind of like that? Because he's had so many adventures. So you think that they would ask him, "Hey, what's up?" I understand they need it for the story. So I mean, I'm not. It's like, why do they do what they do in TV shows? Well, but um, eh, I have a saying: it's comic books, don't overthink it. But sometimes I do. So I must not be captured, says Karma. I love Frank Miller's how he just Reed, watch it. And so it's all right, Ben. I rolled with this kick. Shoot, I missed him as the thing tries to take a swing. And so, what's the matter, Bug Brain? You tired of being one of the good guys? What? Spider-Man is no criminal, but a hero. What have I done? And Reed goes, odd. Spidey's movements aren't as sure, as fluid as usual. He's acting as if he'd never even met the Fantastic Four before, much less fought us. Ben, be careful, yells Reed. So, now you tell me. Wonderful. I threw the thing exactly right. His impact has tied him and Mr. Fantastic up in knots. By the time they untangle themselves, I'll be far away from here. More guards, and beside the woman, Uncle Gwyn. Ben, will you relax? Your struggles are only making matters worse. Spider-Man, yells the invisible woman. General, tell your bodyguards to put their guns away. I'll handle this. Do as the invisible girl says. So she wasn't the invisible by then. All right, Walt Crawler. For you, this party's over. Uncle, let me deal with him, says. Not yet, Tran. You are too eager. Your unique talent must be conserved for equally unique situations. And Tran says, as you wish. And so the invisible woman kind of uses her powers here, kind of knocking him down. I don't want to do this, Spidey. You're a friend of Reed, and I owe you our son Franklin's life. That was in Marvel Team Up 88. We have not covered that. But you give me no alternative. So during this time, Chris Claremont, I think this was Claremont's last issue in Marvel Team Up. Marvel Team Up would continue, but I believe they would get a new writer after 101. But Claremont had about 25, 30 issues writing Marvel Team Up. So, about 15 or so with John Byrne. So here it says Susan Storm Richards lashes out with her invisible force field. So that's what these little things are here. So, but as she said, Spider-Man is her friend. And so the savior of her child, so she holds back just little enough to give the possessed web slinger the opportunity he needs to strike back. And so the spider sense goes off again. Great. I love this this panel here. Absolutely fantastic. Tingling in my head. I'm being warned again. Mr. Fantastic attacking me. And so he uses his web slinger. Man, she's a good Spider-Man. You dare hit my wife? Ugh, as he. So, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're through making nice with you, punk. If you want to get yourself pulverized like Dr. Doom or Galactus, Benjamin J. Grimm will be glad to oblige you. And then he's like, Arr. To do what that thing, you will have to catch me. And I am discovering that it is far easier said than done. And so Tran here, they're whispering here. The Fantastic Four's reputation seems a bit overblown, Uncle. Spider-Man is making fools of them. They've had their chance, Tran. They failed. Deal with the problem. And so he also uses his powers. And so here Spidey yells out again. And maybe she was closer. Tran, he's attempting to be a Spider-Man as I did, and he is succeeding. And Tran is like, I didn't expect such resistance, but I doubt it will last much longer. And Karma says, our power is equal, but Tran is healthy, well-fed, in peak condition. I am far from that. He does not yet realize he is fighting me. If he did, it would change nothing. He is my brother, my twin, a stranger, an enemy. I must release Spider-Man, but I've saved myself. Oh, sorry. I must release Spider-Man. I've saved myself, but not Aga and Leon. When they needed me most, I failed them. Hey, out of the blue, Spider-Man dropped. Too bad for him. He's like, oh, because I guarantee the Excedrin headache he's about to get. What? What? Thing? He yells out. And the Thing just punches him. Ain't nothing compared to the one he's going to have when he wakes up, so. And so it says here, General Coy is oddly reluctant to summon the police, and Reed has no trouble persuading him to turn the incautious webslinger over to the FFs. Spider-Man's actions this evening were completely out of character, and Reed wants to learn wants to learn the reason before taking any further actions. If Spidey has turned criminal, it's his job. It's a job for the law. So he's waking up. Oh, brother, who put my world in a roller coaster and turned my head? He's like, what's going on? And Reed says, have some Sue's hot chocolate, Spider-Man. It'll make you feel better. And the Thing says, how you feeling, buddy? From here, it'll make you feel better. He goes, easy for you to say. And so he asks him, and then he says, confused. What am I doing in the Baxter building? Last I remember, swinging down the west side on my way home. And Reed says, don't you remember trying to kidnap 2 children or fighting us? And Sue says, Johnny Storm, do you mind? Stop showing off and put out that flame. So, and Peter goes, kidnapping? Me? I didn't. I couldn't. But, Dr. Riches, what happened to me? So, I love the little eyes. Very anti-Todd McFarlane, but very Steve Ditko-ish. And so he goes, just relax, Wallcrawler. This encephaloscanner should give us a fair picture of what went in your brain tonight. Fire when ready, Doc. One way or another, I've got to know the truth. Your memory traces are totally flat for about an hour. As if your brain had literally been turned off. And Peter asks, turned off? Where I come from, that's a fancy way of saying that I was dead. And so Mr. Fantastic says, in a sense you were. And he's like, nice. So he thinks here, the lad's making his fear with snappy patter, and he has a good reason to be afraid. Whoever attacked him could have left him crippled, a mental vegetable, even dead. The scanner's picking up a residual energy pattern, one that looks surprisingly familiar. And so he goes and I love this. And he's making a phone, and so he's actually calling the X-Men. So during this time, John Byrne, just to let you know, when this issue came out, John Byrne had just about concluded his run, and had left X Men to go to Fantastic Four. So um, this is sort of that area of when Claremont was writing this here. So um, here they're in the danger room, and Professor X answers the phone here. Xavier here. Hello, Reed. It's nice to hear from you. So, as a matter of fact, Reed, my cerebral computer system did register an unusual amount of mutant activity earlier this evening. Centered in lower Manhattan, the data indicates two distinct entities, possibly, probably possessing similar abilities. Better, Storm, use your weather. Sorry, better. So they must have been a interruption. Storm, use your weather powers to deflect those missiles as well as evade them. So sorry, he's talking at the same time. We'll skip these parts here. Sorry, Reed, I was distracted about those contacts. I've been planning to investigate them myself. Would you like any assistance? No? I quite understand. At any rate, whoever these mutants are, their power is unlike anything I've previously encountered, and it is considerable. Please keep me posted. And so, I love this part. Wolverine, that equipment is expensive and difficult to replace. Don't you dare use your adamantium claws on it. So, uh, and so off they go in the Fantastic Car, and they are able to identify. He kind of created his own Cerebro here, and Spider-Man goes, in that church? All right. So that's where they're hiding. So off goes Spider-Man. Another great vertical panel here. Very, very cool. And Richards wants the Human's Torch to stop him. And he goes, of all the idiot times to go off half-cocked, we have no idea what we're up against. For all we know, there could be an army inside that building. So, and he's like, telling Spider-Man, you're acting like a jerk as usual. Reed says to play it cool until we check out this place. But of course, Spider-Man's all pissed because he was taken over. So he crashes into that church, and he's like, you busted into a real church. And there's a priest, and of course, here's Karma. And he goes after the priest. He's like, but it's not him, of course. And so Karma possesses the Human Torch, and he flames on and uses his power against Spider-Man. So now, I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit here. So Spider-Man and the Human Torch fight each other. So eventually, Reed Richards, or sorry, Sue, the Invisible Woman separates them using her thing, and he says, "Sorry, it wasn't his fault." And the priest here says, "Stop it, all of you at once. Are you insane? You stand in a house of God, not a battlefield. If you know respect for the Lord, at least have some for those who worship Him. Leave this place in peace, I beg you." And of course, Karma goes, "What have I done? Father Bowen, forgive me." And he says, "Shan, child, everything has gone so terribly wrong. I've betrayed all those I believed in, betrayed those I love, those who trust me." And so, Sue's like, "Reed, there's such pain, such dissolution in her voice. Father, is there somewhere we can talk?" And so they're going to sit down, and she is going to tell them the story. Again, I love this. Um I'm a huge fan of Frank Miller, early Frank Miller, late Frank Miller, all Frank Miller. So she says her name, Sean Koi Man. So from Vietnam here. She kind of talks about how much she suffered. Remember the Vietnam War. So that was pretty recent, within the last 10 years. They're saying here that he was given the most dangerous assignments. Of course, the wife and kids all went along. She discovers her mutant power when her this soldier was about to kill her brother, so she was able to possess and then Tran, however, did the same thing, and Tran made the man kill himself, and he laughed. So he, at the other hand, was frightened. So um, obviously, we have a good kid and a bad kid. So they showed her uncle, who is that guy, their powers here, and of course, they discover, that they both have the same power, but it says here, she fears to use them, and the uncle says, "Pity, I am pleased that you confided in me, nephew. I will not forget it." I love how we have the white here and we have open areas, and here they don't even fix the nose, but you can just it's wonderful, just wonderful. So, and so at the end of the war, he managed to get only Tran rescued and left the rest. It's really only wanted Tran because Tran was willing to use his power. And she had to use her powers to try and keep everyone free and safe, and eventually they did escape. Man, these big issues, they just take a little longer here, but so um she was hungry, she was tired, and just possessing people was just hard, and it wasn't able. There were some Thai pirates that attacked them, and they killed all the men, and the fate of the women was worse than death. So unfortunately, her mother died the day that they were rescued. They reunited her with her uncle here, but it says here that Uncle had prospered, Tran had changed. He was cold, calculating, lacking any trace of humanity or compassion. So the uncle says to use her powers in his service, like Tran did, and it would make her rich, but she refused. The uncle wasn't happy, so she left with the kids, and they arrived to Father Bowen's church. Um, and so the priest helped her. They ended up renting an apartment, and she even got a job. But one day, as she's coming through, sees the apartment ransacked. Her phone rings, and it was her uncle, and he had taken the kids. Her uncle's not very good, and if he wanted to see them again, he had until midnight to decide. That's when she decided she was gonna get to Spider-Man, because it said here Spider-Man menace. So she assumed he was a villain here. I don't know. This is probably that charcoal of some kind or that oil pencil here, but it's just magnificent. I was gonna make a comment on it, but I love that. So, um, anyway, Sue says, "Oh, you poor darling, Reed, we can't let General Coy get away with this. That's for certain, Mrs. Richard. You can see Spider-Man. Uh, he's ready to help here. I've seen and heard some sleazeball things in my time, but this tops them. We'll save those kids, Shan. You have my word. And heaven help those, heaven help whoever tries to stop us." So, all right, we got about 10 pages left. So here we go. So, the uncle arrives here with the kids, and Spider-Man takes them, and here comes Spider-Man now, and he's not alone, of course. He's got the Fantastic Four who are helping him here, and they're taking care of those thugs. This must be Tran right here. He says that Cerebro Scanner is how they were able to find them here. And Spider-Man says, "Surrender, anyone? Though if you guys are still in a mood to fight, who am I to stand in your way?" And so Mr. Fantastic says, "Enough, Spider-Man, they're beaten." And Karma says, "You laughed at me, Uncle. You taught me a lone friendless, a stranger in a strange land, helpless. I hear no laughter now." And so the uncle says, "If there was ever a time to prove your value to me, Tran. It is now. I hear, Uncle, and obey. So, and of course she says, Spider-Man, my friends, beware. And so, love, just love the use of the power here. So, um, he kind of uses his power to kind of, it says here, like a battering ram. And so he's going to try to take everyone in possession. So, Spider-Man's like, I have a very bad feeling about this. So he's got the entire Fantastic Four snared. So, um, and Spider-Man's like, Shan, wake up, please. I need you here. And so you can see here, sister can't help you. Everyone is possessed. I love the eye thing. Just amazing here. And so now it's Spider-Man versus the Fantastic Four as he is using their powers against Spider-Man. So now we see Spider-Man here. I love it. The splash page with just look at this. Just the choreography. You're gonna see a lot of that in Daredevil. Very beautiful here. So they always said Sue Storm is the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. So you can see here as he, that they're getting the upper hand here. And so Spider-Man hits the thing pretty hard, and off he goes. Just amazing fight, amazing choreography. Even very early. This is still super early in Frank Miller's. Look at this. Just beautiful, beautiful art. I love this. So, the uncle says, Tran, I'm going to my house. And he says, do that, uncle. I will be along presently. Then we'll talk about the future and my role in it. So it looks like Tran is going to demand more power here. So the kids here are frightened. We got some half vertical panels here, but just wonderful stuff here as he continues to make his way. So the Human Torch is like out of control here, but she's using or he's using that to kind of protect the kids too. So hold on a quick second here. How typically noble, Spider-Man, thinking of others before yourself. You need not fear. They will come to no harm, meaning the kids here. Those were my uncle's plans, not mine. Long before Gan Liang would have been in any danger, I had planned to seize control of his criminal organization from him. That something to look forward to. And so he's gonna he says here, all you have to look forward to, fool, is an early grave. So he hits Spider-Man and he is down in the water here. So, and Spider-Man's gonna try to here's the Human Torch here. He's gonna try to get up and see if he can and he does. You see here he kind of comes out of the water and punches him here. So we're down to the final 3 pages here. So Sean says, trying for the love of all we hold sacred. I hold nothing sacred. Stop this madness before it's too late. I will stop when I have won, when all my foes are dead, he says. So the ship explodes here, and still he possesses everybody here. And here comes the Thing, and he's like about to just throttle poor little Spider-Man. And finally she says, no more death, no more pain. If you will not stop, my brother, then I will stop you. And so the Thing finally is free here, and he's like, sister, you know not what you do. I do what I must. No, this is not possible. My defenses are crumbling, but you're weaker, like the Spears than I. And finally he's like, yeah, please spare me. And he says no. And Spider-Man's like, what did she do? It says, and the thing says, pal, I don't want to know here. So we are down to the final page here. So energy, a life force that is hers yet not hers, swirls around Xian and reaches out of her mind and gently gathers in it, thus making the essence of the soul of her brother, the good and the bad, a part of her. So we got a yin and a yang. And so the Fantastic Four are safe. And she says, he was darkness, I the light. He fought only for himself, I for those I love. True, his body was stronger, but my strength flowed from my soul. He could not stand against that. So, and so we kind of get last thing like, oh my gosh, he was in such agony, that kind of stuff from Sue and Reed. Again, the silhouettes. Frank Miller's so good at them. He says, whatever his crime, he's more than paid them. So the kids are happy to see her. And she says, I owe you all more. Far more than I could ever repay. If you would ever need my help, though, you have but to ask for karma. And of course, Reed likes the name here, and as she kind of walks away here, Spider-Man says, with karma's power of possession, she has the awesome potential for good or evil. For what it's worth, Doc, I'll stick my money on the good. Amen to that, Spidey. Amen. And we got the beginning. Of course, we will see Karma again once the New Mutants. She'll become more prominent, and she'll be in there. But again, because we're covering the Claremont verse, this story is a part of that. So, we got Marvel Team Up 100, Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.